Judiciary Committee. How laughable was that when they were talking about cases? Show me a case where you voted for the little guy. And then Judge Gorsuch lists off a litany of cases, and she just ends up by saying, oh, well, I'll have to read those. It was ridiculous. Have you seen the rhetoric lately? The Democratic Party has gone full Bulworth. Has anybody remember that movie Bulworth back in the day with the politician that has the mental breakdown and decides to just speak the quote-unquote truth in a vulgar way? Go watch that movie if you want to know what I'm talking about. But they've gone full Bulworth. Tom Perez is cursing up a storm as he is traveling the nation trying to whip up excitement for the Democrats. Kirsten Gillibrand is using the F word and dropping bombs during interviews with magazines. It's everywhere. It's Trump derangement syndrome that people have been talking about. Donald Trump was vulgar and crude and rude and socially unacceptable, and he won. Democrats think that they can do the same thing, apparently, and it's not working. It's just showing the desperation of a broken party. Bernie Sanders is even calling. Here comes the second Bernie Sanders reference in the show where we're actually agreeing with him. What is going on here? Bernie Sanders even says that the Democratic Party is headed in the wrong direction. Polls of Democrats are showing that they're moving in the wrong direction. There was a poll recently comparing voters for Trump versus voters for Clinton, and if they were to change their mind. 96% of Trump voters said no. More attrition on the Clinton side, so much so that she went from winning the popular vote to comparing to the poll recently where she would have lost the popular vote. Because voters would have chosen, maybe not Trump, but definitely not Clinton. This party is spiraling in a death spiral, the likes of which hasn't been seen in a very long time. And it's because of points we brought up earlier. Not building the bench, not having any fundamental ideas to bring, breaking stuff instead, supporting fringe groups that, while maybe laudable causes to some, are not within the mainstream. And just acting a fool in general. They're falling apart, folks. Chuck Schumer's crying during press conferences about mean and spiteful activities by the president. He's being mean to me. Come on. It's absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, Republicans aren't doing that well either. There's no fusion there. You have to worry about reaching across the aisle. You got to reach within your own aisle. We've seen that over healthcare. We're going to probably see it over tax reform. And we're going to see it over a myriad of other topics as time passes. So what's to come? A lot of the same, folks. Get ready for it because there's going to be a lot of divisiveness and a lot of vitriol and a lot of bad name calling. Howard Dean, get ready with the hate speech. There's about to be a lot of hate speech, if that's what you think it is, coming out of Congress in the next months. And it's all pivotal and building up to that midterm election, folks. Trump administration's job is clear. Keep building the economy like you've been doing. We didn't even mention that. The job growth and the economy and the stock market hitting over 21K and all that very positive signs. Got to keep that momentum going. Got to do something about healthcare. Got to keep your promise on the wall. Got to provide tax relief. You do that, you're going to probably retain control after the midterms. Democrats, start getting constructive, otherwise, you're going to die. Your party's already been pulled too far left to really be meaningful. Cut your losses on that. Start working with the president. If you want infrastructure, start working on a deal. You're working with a man that deals for a living. President Trump has shown that he's a pragmatist. He showed it with China and was able to make a deal with them to kind of deal with North Korea, those crazy bastards. Let's see if he can deal now. Deal or no deal, folks. That's what it's going to come down to in the coming months. A lot of deals to be made all around within the Republican Party, between parties, internationally. We didn't even talk about internationally, how President Trump in his first 100 days has reestablished America on the international scene with a vengeance. The fact that he's given his military the ability to make their own decisions away from political groupthink is really good. And it was showed in the measured response to Assad's use of chemical weapons on his own people, in how quickly we responded, how decisively we responded, and how proportionally we responded. And let's give credit where credit is due to Ambassador Nikki Haley for standing up in the Security Council on this whole topic and staring down Russia and telling people, if you want to talk badly, if you want to talk in support of Syria, do it in public. Kudos to Nikki Haley for being a strong ambassador and for supporting the Defense Department and National Security Council and all the actors on the international scene, State Department as well. Rex Tillerson going to Russia and calling that bluff. By the way, where'd that whole Russia narrative go, right, folks? It's all there. It's all coalescing on the international front. America has reemerged. The sheriff's back in town, and we like that as well. Another high point for the administration. So maybe this 100 days isn't so meaningless after all. Maybe it is that meaningful. And maybe Donald Trump has gotten a lot more done than we thought. But we can't hear it over the rhetoric, over the fighting, over the backbiting, the vitriol coming from the Democrats. And maybe more good is to come. We'll just have to wait and find out. Folks, we're a little past halftime here on the show. I want to thank everybody for listening to Behind Enemy Lines Radio. Check us out at www.behindenemylinesradio.us. Check us out on the Facebooks and the Twitters at BEL_radio. And if you missed any part of the show, which we normally do live on Tuesdays, you could check us out at any one of our rebroadcast outlets, including WJHC 107.5 FM radio in Jasper, Florida. You know, every time I think about Jasper, Florida, I think of the movie Roadhouse, because I think the name of the town and that was Jasper. Maybe a coincidence there, I don't know. You can also check us out at WDDQ 92.1 FM Adele, Georgia, and WLBB 1330 AM in Carrollton, Georgia, all part of the Red Nation Rising Radio Network. You can also check us out at KLRN Radio, High Plains Talk Radio, Sackheads Media, ICRN, the Internet Conservative Radio Network, and of course Lanterns Radio. It's a great emerging network, folks. Check them out at lanterns.buzz. I like that website, by the way. Buzz. I like doing that. But if you miss any part of the rebroadcasts, don't worry. You can check us out as a podcast. We're available on Spreaker, iTunes, Player FM, Podbay, TuneIn, Stitcher. You can discover us on Google Play Music. We're also on SoundCloud, and of course the mighty iHeartRadio. It's awesome, folks. You can get us any way you want and twice on Sundays. We're going to take our last break, and when we come back, a little more tidbits here and there. We're going to talk about the state of Fox News and what happened with Bill O'Reilly. A little personal note there as well. And then we'll round out the show with a final thought about the People's Republic of New York City and the latest harebrained schemes by Bill de Blasio in order to win another election. He's reaching back into his old tricks again, folks. You're going to want to hear this one. Gene Baradelli, Behind Enemy Lines. We'll be back right after these brief words. Hey folks, I just want to let you know about a great opportunity for listeners of Behind Enemy Lines Radio. If you go to our website, www.behindenemylinesradio.us, and click on the same box ad on the right side of the page, you will get a great opportunity for a discounted offer to join SaneBox. SaneBox filters out all the unimportant email from your inbox so that you can really focus on what matters. If you're anything like me, folks, you get hundreds of pieces of email a day, not many of which is important. SaneBox's smart filter will get everything you need to fly through your inbox and finally make email work for you. It gets rid of spam emails, it deprioritizes emails that aren't as important to you, and it helps you unsubscribe from mailing lists and individual senders with ease. So again, go to www.behindenemylinesradio.us and you click on the SaneBox ad and you'll be given an exclusive offer you won't find anywhere else. The show will be right back. But first, a word from Al Sharpton.
But resist we much. We must. They're all jitty about a shutdown. The tortoise in the race, then co-author of Hubris. U2 lead singer Bono, Fran Drescher, Sigourney Weaver, suspect Jahar Tsarnaev, Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh. The show Rush Lombard hosts Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Is Mike Muckery yesterday, Antonin Scalia. Kim Kardashian and the Republican candidates, both Cairo and Benghazi, we rank behind La Vita. First stop, Kazakhstan to college students in Beijing. He's getting lunch at Chipotle in Iowa. Spain is appropriate. The GOP's tax day giveaway to millionaires. Why was traffic problems email sent? The Environmental Projection Agency and what sequestration has done.
But wait, there's more.
We all know I've had my share of prompter issues. And here's the president meeting with a cola cube. Republicans, Grinches, launching fistful of coal. Copies of the new issue of Charlie Hebdo. He also goes by the name Michael Zihabiba. 26-year-old Nina. Phone. Ray Romano. Honor David Letterman. He died of accidental asphyma. Al-Qaeda in Yemen. The start of school has been postponed several times. Massive manhood is underway. Who spoke at a white supremacist convention. You look at the hand you're dealt with, there are not 60 Republicans after a historic when you hear of ISIS now waterboating all over the map on immigration. Did the New England Patriots cheat to get into the big game? NFL analyst and Hall of Fame player Troy Aikens, the writer slamming President Obama for talking with YouTube celebrities. What's the latest tonight in Iowa?
Well, in Ottawa.
And they gave this guy a TV show? Let's get back to our show. Gene Barardelli, back behind enemy lines. Before we go any further, obviously everybody knows in the news what happened with Bill O'Reilly, the allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct at Fox News and multiple cover-ups with that, leading to his subsequent firing and dismissal from Fox News. Just on a personal note, one of the reasons why Behind Enemy Lines exists is because Russ and I used to do a little show called Brooklyn GOP Radio when we were part of the Brooklyn Republican Party. And our major break happened because of Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly and his crew apparently picked up on an interview that Russ and I had done with then President of the NRA, David Keene, and used our audio during his show. And that would be a really cool thing to just say, hey, that's our audio. But Bill O'Reilly and the O'Reilly Factor also credited us with that interview. It was our first major credit on a major broadcast. Bill O'Reilly didn't have to do that. We were a rinky-dink little podcast that had maybe a dozen listeners at the time. But he appreciated the work that we had put in and that we did with this interview, how newsworthy it was at the time, and he used it and he credited us. And I'll never forget that. So I, for one, personally want to thank Bill O'Reilly, and I look forward to seeing what he does in the future. I'm optimistic for his future, but I'm not so optimistic for the future of Fox News. If you've been following what's going on at Fox right now, besides the fact that Tucker Carlson seems to be the vampire sucking the blood out of every show that is canceled, whether it be Greta or Megan or now Bill O'Reilly, the man just always gets the spot, doesn't he? Good for him. But besides all that, if you are looking behind the curtain at Fox News, you may not be liking what you're seeing if you currently like what you're seeing at Fox. It looks to me that the second generation of Murdochs, specifically James Murdoch, doesn't like the fact that Fox News is not only the highest rated cable news network, and also a significant portion of what his media giant conglomerate creates as far as income. I think it's around 20%. He just thinks that it's beneath him, apparently. If you read stories coming out of, industry trade papers, you're seeing that, the Murdoch family is under new management. And it seems like the son is taking over for the father and wants to take Fox in a different direction. Whether that's good or bad is a question of taste, I suppose. But everyone has